Hi, everybody. Just to start with my reflection. So, this was an incredible amount of information that goes back hundreds of years as to how it has been okay to make classrooms bilingual, to be able to have those that solely speak English and those that are trying to learn English and make a bilingual type of curriculum. And for people in our society to accept that and to know and to feel like that was okay, right? So that it's gone back hundreds of years for people to be even comfortable with the fact that we are going to teach English in a classroom, not separate those that don't speak English from the English speakers, but creating a curriculum where it's a bilingual curriculum, not something that we're teaching you English as a second language. So this goes back, like I said, hundreds of years. And there have been people that have wanted to come up with different ways, and they think that this is the best way. So there was one, a German scholar, where he thought that the sink or swim method was the best. Then there were people that continued to pass that on who were known as skillful teachers. But it really wasn't until the Bilingual Education Act, the Title VII Bilingual Education Act, which is a federal law, and it gave grants to school districts, right? And to make a bilingual education. Those grants were for homeschool collaborations, adults education for parents, and it led to a no drop out prevention, right? For these students, it provided a way for them to be able to continue their education. Then we hear about the No Child Left Behind, which leads to the Title III, and the importance of assessing to make sure that we know where these students are, we know where we can see them progress, was probably one of the biggest things from the No Child Left Behind Act. And there was also something else that I read that mentioned, these children are not invisible anymore. Like, we are able to acknowledge them. We are able to, through assessments and through a bilingual curriculum, we're able to reach them, not separate them from the classroom, not treat them like they're any different, but get to them to where they're at, right where they're at. The Title III, their main goal was to teach English, to maintain, to attain English proficiency in the students. That could be in how they speak, in their writing, but to make sure that they were proficient in English. Let me see here what else. So there was the TSL, Teacher of English to Speakers of Other Languages. They had their own standards. This was also part of the No Child Left Behind. The standards are important because they are like, it's what's reasonably expected of these students, right? So there's different levels that these students would be at, and like level 1 was they're starting. They know nothing. We're starting with something fresh. They cannot understand anything. They cannot speak anything. Then you have level 2 where it's emerging. Level 3 where it's developing. They're starting to be able to communicate and to understand. Level 4 is where they're expanding, where they can pretty much hold their own. And then level 5 is bridging, where it's pretty much they have reached to where they are fully proficient. And the only way that they're able to see these levels is through the assessments that they're able to do. But also that gave a lot of other concern, because then you're also doing a lot of the testing, the high stakes testing, which many people want pushback on. There's been many court decisions. There was, Plessy versus Ferguson, then Brown versus the Board of Education that reversed that. All of this is about equal rights, making sure that everybody has the equal opportunity to be in a classroom, to receive the funds that they need through their school, to make sure that they have the resources that they need to learn English, and that they're not casted out like they cannot be part of the classroom. We want to make sure that they are part of the classroom like everybody else. There was also Lau versus Nichols, which is known as one of the most important court decisions for education of language minority students. So, they were given at first that sink or swim method that I spoke about earlier, which wasn't working for them. And through that, a court decision that was made through that lawsuit was the Lao remedies, which it's not just those from Title VII that are only funded programs. This is for all of the school districts. So there has been many rulings to support bilingual education. You have the U.S. versus Texas, Cerna versus Pertales, that created bilingual programs. So through all of these decisions, there has been an improvement to make sure that these students are reached and that these students receive the same education that those that speak English. Some of these also, said that these students that don't speak English should learn English. It helps them adjust to the culture, but also that the Anglos would learn Spanish, which I thought was great because this is the country that we live in, which rules out some of those old misconceptions that the United States, that their language is English. And obviously, if we live in Miami, we understand that that's not the case. So from overall, there's federal and state policies for English language learners. This pretty much raises awareness that schools are responsible for meeting the needs of these English language learners. I took a lot away from these chapters. It was an incredible amount of information, like I said, but it's great to see the history of how everything has evolved. We're not there yet. There's a lot of things that, we don't see the outcomes of it yet. But I even think that through classes like this, we're able to see the importance of making sure that every student gets a chance to be part of a classroom and to receive the same information and to receive the same education, high quality education that they deserve. Thank you.